Okay, greetings all. The date is Thursday, October 10th, and 2024. Hmm, hmm, okay. Hmm, don't know what's happening there. But yeah. Yeah, so thanks for joining Context Matters. And the topic today is about rehabilitation and misinterpretation. The misinterpretation is in relation to um, criminal conduct that without conviction, and how morality kind of skews how people judge. So we're gonna have that conversation and see how best we can really look into the situation and pretty much have a better idea, or a better a better understanding of how to treat with certainly the discussion on rehabilitation, places in the world where it actually means something versus jurisdictions such as Jamaica, where rehabilitation is a non-issue or a non-factor. How do we certainly deal with that, or treat with that? That is the seminal question, or the seminal issue. So that's definitely something that we want to consider. And we'll have, I'm looking at the comment section, and we'll have that. I thought somebody said, I thought they tell them that the comment is coming. All right, yeah. So just to have that type of conversation, to see how best we can have an understanding in the space for that, right? So that is my hope, that we certainly will be able to have the discussion. For those of you joining on Reggae Global Radio, I guess I'm gonna wait Kevin to tell me whether or not that stream is going through properly, because um, I'm seeing where um, certainly there's some issues on that end. Anyway, nonetheless, we have to proceed, and with the hopes that those who are hearing can hear, and those who can't will indicate. So let me just see a check there on the YouTube. Are you hearing me clearly? Are you seeing me clearly? And yeah, just give me a quick heads up. So I am streaming right now. The time is 10:03. So I'm in London, and yeah, I want to sleep, but we're gonna have to do the context matters, because we can't keep missing it, right? We have to put a lot of things in context, and we have to do what we're doing. So I'm seeing the yes, so that's a go. My people's on TikTok, where you at, top of the screen, share the live. Talk to me. I see you all. I see it very festive. I seen all the good evenings, and all the love. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the gifts as they come in, and I seen the hearts going up. So I know everybody is there, and I know that we definitely can vibe. Um, yeah, so somebody said clear in central Manchester. Yeah, so many things happen in the space. So if you're a part of the diaspora, I know it has been festive, because um the political landscape is very colorful and festive, to say the least. And if ever there was a term of what is the definition of gutter politics, well, it happens to the best of us when you are the subject of the lowest of the low when it comes to politics. But it is in that vein that we'll have the conversation. So one of the best ways to generally start the conversations in context matters is to define. Um, I was listening to a radio program and the host was pretty much, going to town about who is rehabilitated and not rehabilitated. I know they couldn't have been talking about me, obviously, because I'm a rehabilitated brother. You understand? Self-explanatory. I'll tell you what my version is, but the definition is the action of restoring someone to health or normal life through training and therapy after imprisonment, addiction, or illness. So, using it in a sentence, she underwent rehabilitation and was walking within 3 weeks. So, the action of restoring someone to former privileges or reputation after a period of disfavor. Um, then they speak about a posthumous rehabilitation of the activists, and then you have the action of restoring something that has been damaged to its former condition. So the rehabilitation then means an act of restoration. So I'm speaking about rehabilitation in the context of incarceration. It's a matter for you, but I think using me as the example is probably not the best when we're dealing with a topic such as this. So I would want to say we can speak on love you too. Um, I appreciate all the love when we go. Um, yeah, so the importance of having the conversation is because we have a lot of discussion with persons who are neither qualified, um, persons who don't even have the basic aptitude, basic common sense, but are in the conversations with and using their platform to misguide people. So I really want to break it down to give people a serious thing, a serious issue to contemplate. I want that over my head. Gifted up, gifted up. I see y'all. Donna, big up yourself. Yeah. So let's put it in context this way. Um, mm, mm, yeah, let's put it in context this way. No, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody sees it or hear it, does it fall? And I want you guys to think about that and answer the question. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody sees it or hears it, did it fall? Is that a yes or a no? Let me get some interaction from the chat. So one Neji says yes, Marky says no. So some people are saying yes, and some people are saying no. So again, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody sees it or hears it, did it fall? So you see, here's how we have the communication issue. There are persons who are saying no, the tree, if you don't see it and you don't hear it, then it don't fall. The reality is what you are really saying is you don't care, 'cause from you don't hear it and you don't see it, then it don't happen. And that's the way how people navigate. Well, I'm gonna say this to you. The reality is this: whether you in your world, in your space, whether your world is significant or insignificant, there are things that happen whether you like it or not, whether it affects you or not, it happens. And like turn up the thing says a fall is a fall. Well, I want you to appreciate this. If you are living your life as I'm having this conversation, thinking that the only time a crime is committed is when somebody is convicted, then you're misguided. If your moral compass says because somebody doesn't face the court, they are not a criminal, then you are misguided. What they are not is a convict. When a crime is committed, whether the police can solve it, whether the prosecutor can prosecute it, whether the judge is able to adjudicate, and whether the jury is able to reach a verdict or the matter is able to be tried, is a complete difference from the reality that things happen. Um, what we have are rules and law that guide and govern how we treat with issues. So if we are living in a society that's guided by law, then people ought to respect the law, um, even if they don't agree. And those who are put in place to execute the law, ensure that it operates in the way that it was designed, are the persons who oftentimes complain. And then a lot of times it's also big up yourself, Ron Robinson. Big up yourself because you are the content creator when it comes to the graphics for Context Matters. So I see you on the live. My respect to you, my brother. Yeah. So even right, and Mikey just said it. He's on TikTok. Mikey Official says, even if you don't agree with it, the law is a law. Loxley, I haven't seen you in a while. Big up yourself. So we are having the conversation where we're saying, listen, either we're going to respect the law or we're going to live in a lawless society. So every facet of the law is something you're going to have to respect. What I discovered when I returned to Jamaica as a person deported from the United States, and I speak about this all this time. So when those little people feel like they're gonna one up and divulge information about convictions. These are things you can check in the internet. You can Google and you'd see. I have traversed the issue of convictions in many spaces, in the academic arena, to students at the University of the West Indies, to the GLC, to everybody. I think the only person that one by law never needed to have a discussion with was the Custos of Kingston. He is a mere person that the law, as it is, doesn't respect as to somebody that you're supposed to disclose the conviction to, because it's not a body um, that requires you to disclose, especially in a manner where the expungement where there is the expungement act, there's no duty to disclose. So you have to know the difference. So there are comparisons made by people who have worked in government who never disclose their convictions, and that is just downright in breach of the law. So we have to look where the law is, and then we have to um, assess it from there. What is most important is to ensure that you as a citizen is not in breach of the law, and that you're upholding the rule of law, and that you respect the outcomes in the court, and use the processes and procedures where you're dissatisfied until you exhaust your remedies. Currently in Jamaica, where I am now, at the Privy Council, as the highest court in the land. And when they speak technically that's the end of the matter, and whatever the outcome is, that's when you say, okay, that matter has the fat lady has sung her song. I can't say Lizzo anymore because Lizzo has lost the weight significantly. um so now that we're speaking on that, we follow the law slavishly, and it should apply to everybody equally. Why is this important? Well, it is important because nobody is above the law. Not the Prime Minister of Jamaica, he certainly is not above the law. Not the Vavavoom, as Mr. Jeffrey Tavares would say, and not the elite class who find ways to flout the law. Can you imagine, like, lawyers would hold on to persons' titles and they would have to go to court. If it's another kind of lawyer, no, them just disbar you. But when you're a big shot lawyer, you can hold on to people's title and you can do all kind of activities that are somewhat criminal, and your friends prevent you from you know protect you. So we have to look at the realities of a two Jamaica society, and how that society treats persons equality before the law. That is actually a constitutional right. Equity before the law. So when you see people actions are behaving as are demonstrating that they think they are above the law. The law is a jealous mistress, and it will no doubt embarrass you in the long run. Things that are hilarious is government officials suing the government, where the attorney general is to be named and it's not named. Just anyway, things like that. But why am I having this conversation? Having this conversation so people can put things into perspective. There is the past, there's the present, and there's the future. We had a vision 3030, and even way before the people who had the vision came out and said it was not feasible, people knew it was not feasible, because there can be no advancement in any society if the people are not included. It's a simple thing, you know. If the least among us lives are improved, it is then that the society is improved. No matter how you spin it by PR, no matter what, if you aren't improving the people's lives and ensuring that the least among us lived at least at a world standard on the index, um, then you're not doing anything to develop the country that you say that you love and that you say that you appreciate, and all the things that come with it. So, because of that, now we fall into what is a category called a high crime society. Jamaica is a high crime society simply because the citizens have to fend for themselves. The citizens have to fend for themselves because government is failing miserably. Um, Why is the government failing miserably? Because we want to do what first world countries do without first world capacity. There was a time when um, there was a time when naturally, when it came to education, you could be the dumbest person in Jamaica and you're dropping America and you're the brightest child. What education has become is an unfortunate experience for students who it is just those who have internal locus of control or happen to go to the traditional high schools that is why they're striving. But certainly the education system for what it is now is just complete utter garbage. Um, why am I saying it like this? I can tell you the story of a young man who was educated in Jamaica, all facets of his life. The education was so rich and so pure that he remembered all his teachers from Miss Simpson. Me not see you yet, no Miss Simpson, but from the time when you did lick me with the duster, cause me did a chat too much in a class, and you tell me some teach them chaka chaka. And then my sister Tanasha fix your business. I don't forget you. But I'm using this because you remember the teachers. You remember Mr. Taff, the chemistry teacher, and he had a car named Betsy. And these are teachers who they gave you a rich education. And boy, Mr. Betsy, I don't know what kind of car that Mr. Taff did buy, but obviously from way back when, you teachers weren't making money, and that's something that has to change because the quality of the teacher is going to be important. Miss Henry, a geography teacher who taught my grandmother, taught my mother, and happened to teach me. And she would every time she say, every time you're chatting in class, because clearly she didn't know that I was going to be a lawyer one day and still chat too much. That sometime this year, people on the internet were saying I chat too much and I must shut up. That's the thing about thing chatting. People must identify your strong points and allow you to flourish. Here I am telling you a story about myself when I'm supposed to be talking about a random person, but engaging and interfacing with teachers. There was a very significant educator. His son is now a doctor and a poet and all kind of things, but Mr. Abrahams, I think his son is Michael Abrahams, but Father Abraham, let me tell you something. He had an extra lesson class in Constant Spring. And if you never did a learn nothing in a school, he was teaching you to prepare for high school and university at the preparatory level. Um, so they and don't get me wrong, there are persons from the teachers at St. Richard's Primary and all the schools. You would know them. It's a conversation about what teachers used to look like. But I'm speaking about these persons because education in Jamaica, Michael Manley, under Michael Manley, was a rich process. So much so that a lot of the people that are privileged in this society and think they're the creme de la creme, but we know that if it was not for Michael Manley, some of them would not have gotten the education and they wouldn't have been lawyers and doctors and engineers and all that they are today. So one wonders how it is that um, students are struggling now to get access to the same form of education that that the generations before us got, that would allow those persons to say they are the creme de la creme now. So you see how deadly and critical a good education is, because you know silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay. And I'm not talking about, and don't get me wrong, there are exceptions to the rules. I know persons who don't have the best education, but I can tell you this, them a boss for every boss, because them the farmers who know for raise them goat and them yam and them this and them have them business and them can buy them trucks and them vehicles and legal money. So they don't need 28 bank accounts and they don't need all the fandangles to say I'm a ghetto youth that work hard in the government sector and is richer than everybody. I mean, it's a matter for you. But persons who work hard and I mean, I had a helper one time. Big up yourself, Faye. Faye have taxi on the road and bus on the road, and she don't quit her job as a helper. And she work hard. Nothing illegal. She sell in the Pernell Charles Arcade and the one and a half with tree. And she did everything that she was supposed to do to make sure that her kids were better. And she was proud to be she was proud to be a helper. Um, and she wasn't a, and I'm using the word helper because that's what it is, a helper, except that she is a respectable woman whom certainly my parents would have taught that you respect the person's profession because she was raising us. So this is somebody who was raising. There's another one called Miss Sissy. Every time I think about Miss Sissy give the pick to them syrup and bread and chiffon butter. Chiffon, baby, you do me good. But anyway, so but they were the second mothers and they nurtured you in ways so you wasn't a Lego beast and nothing like that. So education has to do with um the type of home that you come from and the quality of teacher that you get when you go to the school. also the head of the school is going to be important, because the principal, I will always tell you about Dr. Morris, because when teachers was telling me that I couldn't take CXC, Dr. Morris made me take my CXC. And that year, people can, these things you can fact check. I was one of the few persons who had passed any subjects from Meadowbrook High School at that time. Um, these things are very important because the teachers, how you treat them is going to reflect how the nation is going to be. But hear this now, even with the best of education, it don't stop you from running foul of the law in your youth. So naturally, I know persons would have seen the social media space and the very forceful, um, angry press release from the Jamaica Labour Party, because a son of Jamaica, educated in Jamaica, um, got himself in trouble at 17, a juvenile with a seal record and a expunged conviction, as well as got himself before he was even 21, got himself in trouble, not in Jamaica, paid his debt to society, returned to Jamaica, and because of a strong family background and a father that ensured that I was not discarded, was able to use the education from the very teachers that I told you about, and went to the University of the West Indies. Not paid for by student loan, but paid for by my family, father, brother, mother, and sometimes a sibling here and there, but them favor. I still love them though. And to a nurturing environment that would ensure that rehabilitation and a whole reset and restructuring of a life that was damaged from incarceration. There's a mathematical formula that can be put into a working study as to what rehabilitation looks like and what it is supposed to do. So he who feels it knows it, who lives it knows it. But the gravamen of the press release was to say that a young person convicted in his youthful years has no opportunity to rehabilitate and contribute to society. That is the message. And says that the government does not believe in rehabilitation to the point that a son of Jamaica could correct his ways and contribute to nation building as a member of parliament, puts himself up to be a servant of the people, and there is an objection to say that should not happen. Even in the face of overwhelming evidence that there are persons before the court from thieving money at the Ministry of Education allegedly is still allowed to run and win their seat. Many MPs from the Jamaica Labour Party would have had convictions and continue to run, even 3 terms they've had. I don't need to call any names. The founder of the Jamaica Labour Party, Bustamante, criminal. Nobody can deny that. Marcus Garvey, criminal. Paul Bogle, criminal. George Wheeler Garden, criminal. Um, and Nelson Mandela, criminal. Malcolm X, criminal. They're great people, criminal. There's a man who's a criminal that's running for the great president of the United States, the greatest country in the world. And while freedom of expression and freedom of speech, people are allowed to criticize. What people must appreciate is what does the law says in every respective country. So I'll put it in context, because having been successful challenging the current government over and over when it comes to matters of constitution, what the constitution says, and one would think that it is a document that is on Google that is people are capable of reading. That's not the case, because I can tell you this. And there you will find no lawmaker that can challenge me on this. There is nothing in the Constitution or the Representations of Persons Act, People's Act, that prevents ISAT from becoming a member of parliament. In fact, my convictions is not a bar. And so if one would say, how could the People's National Party allow a prominent attorney who would have had a successful case at the Privy Council, appeared at the Privy Council 3 times previously, as well as won all the cases against the government on constitutional matters, have never lost one. As well as the unknown lawyer who is a defender of the poor. So before one speaks of somebody and their capacity, you use ad hominem. And on context matters, we've had these conversations about what ad hominem is. It's called attacking the person. You attack the person because you have no basis in law, you have no facts, and you have no law, and so you muddy the water and wallow in the filth like pigs do. Um, Dirty. You're in the trenches and you're proud to be in the trenches. Um, this is significant because the law always is on my side. So as we speak about running afoul of the law, the press release is in breach of the Expungement Act. It's a criminal offense to be flouting my juvenile conviction and making comments about it. And the persons who repeat it on radio and stuff like that. It's a criminal offense. But because I'm not in the business like this government of turning ordinary citizens into criminals, it is better to educate than to try to stifle, stagnate the citizens. For instance, I can tell you this: the youth of Jamaica would strive, if given the opportunity, to not run off into the first world countries, but to experience the world at large. Jamaicans are beautiful people individually. And let's put that in context. I don't want everybody feeling that when them look in the mirror, them look good. That's just not a reality. So there's a whole thing about the monkeypox, monkeypox comment, and the some Jamaicans are ugly. Um, all things must always be put into context because we know beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. We know, as a matter of freedom of expression, you're free to like what you like and don't like what you don't like, and you can express that. But as people, as you have been taught, you are to be mindful, you are to be polite, you're to be very demure, you're to be very cutesy, and all of those things. That is the vision, certainly, of the Jamaica Labour Party. That they are demure, even if you take a chair and beat a woman and marry her, you remain demure and cutesy. So we understand that. So we oftentimes don't look at the background and the history behind it. So we put out misinformation with the hopes that it will destroy the character of persons and have right-minded thinking Jamaicans look at you in the lowest of the lows. And as well, they said you're as good as the last thing you would have done or where you are in life. But as a take it from me, as a 45-year-old man, um, that the past has caused me to appreciate um, what my purpose in life is. And so while it is that I don't run around opening 28 bank accounts and incapable of accounting for monies from time to time, I can tell you the living that I make is completely in law. And what is not in law is clearly music and education and In Living Color had a thing where, hey man, you had many jobs. These are important things because if you really run a business and you work hard for your money and you enrich people's lives, not through empty promises in 100 days, and not through um, false promises and good PR, but actually free a man who was locked up for 50 years by the government, um, take people who were given life sentences from the plethora of wrongful convictions in our justice system. And it's not limited to Jamaica, and it also deals with countries all over the world. So we know that when it comes to the criminal justice system, there is error, but we can't conflate issues. So let's make it clear. Um, I think I would have exhausted the whole issue of my two convictions and how they came about, all before I was 21, a juvenile, and never have run afoul of the law since. Never. And the General Legal Council is not a legal body that can put you in prison, and it's not, they don't give you convictions. And so any references to sanctions that, like the first one when I asked for the cell phone and I said somebody was shady and dodgy and acting as the author of delay. Lo and behold, God on time. I listened to a prosecutor get up and said we were authors of delay, so was the court, and so was everybody in breaching the constitutional rights of my clients. So when I say it, it's a problem because I am not supposed to speak, yet I am an advocate. And here's why. I'm a proud black man. I am a man who wears dreadlocks, a proud Rasta man. And no matter how anyone feels about it, I'm the son of Big Youth, who is one of the original Rastaman who put Rastafari on the map. And so no one can question my religion and my teachings and all of that, my culture. And in 2024, there are still persons who shave off the whole of them face and walk around like, you know, the Eurocentric vibe, and they have an issue with your beard, they have an issue with your dreadlocks, they have an issue with your hair, they have an issue with the color of your skin, they have an issue with your confidence as being a black man that don't have to beg and bow and be subservient to a system that breaks pride, African pride. That is a big problem because when you allow young people to love themselves and wake up and know that they don't have to work in call centers only, they don't have to restrict themselves. And yes, your father can be a dancehall artist or a reggae artist, and it doesn't prevent you from being a lawyer, doesn't prevent you from being an educator. It doesn't prevent you from being a musician as well. And you can be the best versions of yourself. This is a problem. It is a problem when persons would try to take away your profession and you don't work for them. They've never offered you a job, never offered you a job as an attorney. I've never held a job in a distinguished firm established with the creme de la cremes. So I'm making that clear that I represent you, the people. I am you. I am the human being with the address that is not like of liking. I'm the human being that walks with moral discrimination that is justified by a society with a temperament and the aptitude that would say that people like you should be discarded and stay down there. Yeah, but I am the down there. That don't mean I'm a go down there, but I am the down there. I wanted to appreciate that. So I give the voice and the hope and image of what a young Jamaican is supposed to do to uplift themselves, so that when you go to other countries, they recognize you as someone that spoke before the Privy Council when and made the world proud. Even if Jamaica isn't proud, the world proud, to know that black excellence is still um, achievable from spaces where it's not expected. And that's what I represent. And I'm okay. The other day there was an unfortunate accident, a case which I was doing, and the father of the person that I was represented said I'm not of the ilk to represent the child. And I happily removed myself. I was proud. And I was doing it for the love, because I knew the mother and had to show up to ensure that she did not fall apart while her son was going through the worst. And so I understand that there are two Jamaicas that exist. And I when my decision to put myself up as a candidate to represent the people of Portland Eastern was one of necessity. There is sufferation taking place in Portland Eastern. There's sufferation taking place all over Jamaica. But more so, the level of disconnect that is taking place is something that I speak about, and I speak up for persons every day, fighting for constitutional rights for my entire legal career. You have to, at some point, do that which is necessary to make a change. And it is funny because even before I had any ambitions to do this, I would have seen the creme de la creme think of it before and do everything to remove me from representation, because they don't want you speaking for the people. There's a group of people and a set of people that simply don't want you to speak for the people and represent the people. They don't want you to remind people that they're worthy of being loved, and they're worthy of being respected, and they're worthy of having a good life. We're not just servants. We're not just people who are made to suffer and go through life a beggar thing. We're not that. We're not that. And so I'm quite okay that the persons with the many bank accounts and their wives and their friends who have wives and the family business that's being run um because of the elitism, we're okay with that. I'm okay that they think that they are better than somebody like me. I'm absolutely okay with that, because I'm the grandson of James Samuel Porteous. They all know who James Samuel Porteous is. I'm the son of Big Youth, and I'm the son of John Porteous. And if one thing I can tell you, I was raised properly, properly. And despite, you can call me the prodigal son, you can call me Jonas, you can call me Joseph, you can call me every character in the Bible. But the family that I come from, solid as a rock. The foundation to which mold me, made me who I am today, even with all my flaws and all my mistakes. So what do I have to say when a woman says my son is convicted? When people cursing me that I am convicted? The many voices that says I too am convicted. How did you still get to go to the UK? How do you still get to travel all over the world? Help me to understand this. Because a conviction is not uh, a scar that remains for the rest of your life that prevents you from striving and being the best version of yourself. If that were so, then Nelson Mandela, if we follow the reasoning, would never have been the president, would never have represented and made us proud to be black. He would never have, if he had not gone through his incarceration for 27 years, there would not have been Mandela rules that this government refuses to ratify and refuses to accept. How do I know that? I sued the government and said that they ought to follow the Mandela rules in terms of how you treat persons incarcerated. And they refuse. Their representatives from the Attorney General's office look down on the thought of applying the Mandela rules to the Negroes that are incarcerated in Jamaica. These things are important. And why is it important? Because it is your sons and daughters and your brothers and sisters that are going to interface with the justice system. And judges, no, I can tell you this. If you look at the amendments to the Bail Act, which is designed to keep your sons and daughters in prison even without a conviction. Yet you see the creme de la creme. How dare you call my name and want to go on like you want to charge me? I'm going to judicial review you and want a different rule for themselves, when the due process and the procedure of law are to be followed for everybody. But also the presumption of innocence is for everybody, including the Prime Minister, which is why I love the developments and what is happening in the country now. But I want people to appreciate that as I'm making this conversation, prison never make for dog, albeit the Jamaican prisons need a complete overhaul so that the the incarceration experience would lead persons to the type of rehabilitation and reintegration that would make them productive members of society like me. I'm proud to say that. I'm a product of the Jamaican education system. When I went, I'm UEKted, you know. Yeah, I never get no hurry come up degree. And I'm not going to disrespect anybody because any form of education is something to be credited. And you should be proud that you access it and you went and you went and you got it. Because some education is better than no education. But also being able to critically assess, critically apply what you've learned, and can use it to improve the lives of the people around you is the purpose of education, so that you will appreciate when a mason says, I am the one that's doing the fixtures. You as a little doctor, you can't come going like you can't go on like you know about mason work, like how medical doctors behaving like they know about crime. You can't do it. You have to respect the people who know what they're doing. And education is something that is supposed to do that for you. So if persons were properly educated respectfully, that press release that came out was most embarrassing, not for me, but the thought that the hypocrisy would cause them to spew the vitriol that came from a press release, and the incitement of their constituents and the members who love their party to want to go ahead and assassinate people in the social space. Save and except for you're wasting your time when it comes to Isaac Buchanan. You waste your time when you go on the keyboard and you make 100 different accounts and you try to say stuff because the words it does you can't speak negativity into my life. A human being that has found God and is anchored on God, you can't do anything to them. What you do is you distract yourself and you find yourself down into an abyss that you can't get yourself out of. Many have tried, you know. I've seen one of the most erudite persons in this society find themselves walking through. Let me leave that alone. But I have my job and I have my career. Some persons are in limbo, but we that's another thing. You need to be careful when you trouble God's child, because it's God on time. And if it is that you have ambitions to also do the things that you see I am doing, it's for everybody. It's for everybody's child. I have never professed to be better than anybody. And any human being that walk Jamaica that has had the opportunity to have a conversation with me and I the opportunity to have a conversation with them, they will tell you. So being proud is not being arrogant. And people need to appreciate and understand that. So with that said, we have to think that if we really want our young people to strive to be the best versions of themselves, they must get access. They must see themselves just like how they see me. Every ghetto youth that see me knows that they can be a lawyer if they put their mind to it, and that is a fact. You cannot deny me of that. And then when they thought that it wasn't possible for them, they now know that it is possible. So you can say anything that you want to say, but when God sends His people to do His work, you're incapable. And that is just, I'm just putting that there, because there are many young people who have run afoul of the law. A lot of it being orchestrated by the system itself. So when in America they say the white man have them foot on your neck, and black people say it all the time, and then some people who is striving in a society say, oh, that's just you, and you're worthless and you're a vagrant and you don't want to do this and you don't want to, but that's not true. We as Jamaicans are in a system governed by patriarchy. The world is still a white man's world. And where we fall on the patriarchal spectrum is our reality. We are a third world country that see we get a Jamaican in at the big office so we can go beg little money and borrow money, rather than getting the support that we need so that we can get our reparations. But then that's another thing, because those who are advocating for reparations may very well want it for themselves, and then it's not access. So sometimes God bless a child who has his own and the ability to activate a consistent flow is what we should be teaching our people and our young people. We need to show the type of independence and restructure education in a form that allows young people to become business owners and be innovative, and when they have dreams that people believe in their dreams and give them the opportunity. Many a times I know people that say, yeah, I want to run a liquor consignment liquor thing, and this is all I need. I said, okay, you assist them, and it don't really work out, but at least them get them opportunity and them know say I know just sub business go. But you will have another young person that says I want to do liquor consignment and I'm gonna call it meal liquor on wheels, and them have them liquor car, and before you know it them open a whole store. So in every field, what you put into it and your internal locus of control is going to determine how you separate yourself from the masses. There is never a saturation in any market. So if everybody want own a bar, open your bar. If everybody want do your pinkies hair salon, do it, because cream always rises to the top. So does hot air. So don't be a chatty. But when you put in the work, they while their companions slept were toiling upwards through the night. This is tried and proven, um, and that's where we need to get. And we also need to break up luxury and monotony that disenfranchise people. So I'm here. I'm when one says, "What is it that you're doing?" Uh, that's what I'm doing. In government, there should never be a ma and pa business running at the expense of the people. Never. So when the leader of opposition says, looking at it morally, I find it inappropriate for the prime minister and his wife to be in parliament and they hold two of the highest offices. It's a fact. This is government. But the hypocrisy is, oh, we want to move away from the monarchy and the king for go on and him see mama dead. Yeah. But you want to have kings and queens running a parish and running a country and decide where, oh, I'm gonna have to step away from the, you know, my duties because it involves my husband and I have a duty and a this and that. These things, conflict of interest arises when certain things, so certain things you just ought not to do. But um, with respect to capacity, those are the central issues. If persons want to remain in sufferation, it's a simple fix. But if you want an improvement of your life and you want to see the world, you want to improve your family, you want to educate yourself, and you want opportunities for economic growth and changing the micro version of life, not macro, but your individual life, so that you can feel the benefits of why Jamaica is such a beautiful and great country, then you will know what to do. It's a no-brainer to me. So time will tell where that is concerned. But one thing is, I'm a doer, so I don't spend a lot of time speaking on the things that I know I can do and the things that I can change. That's something I pray to God about, and I always take guidance. So I think I would have addressed that clearly. No, we can now proceed to dealing with the tenets of rehabilitation. So the purpose of rehabilitation, as I said earlier, is to ensure that the citizen, having run afoul of the law, is properly reintegrated and restored to the best of the ability of society, to the version of the person they were before they ran afoul of the law. The purpose is to become the best version of yourself. What are the things that you can do to be rehabilitated? You have to live a life where you are not selfish. You must commit selfless acts for the rest of your life. You must pay for your mistake for the rest of your life. What, although you're paying for that mistake, it doesn't hinder you from doing everything that every other citizen would have done. And you ought not to be deprived if you can show that you are rehabilitated. Now, one wonders how you skip out the fact that I am an accomplished attorney with a practicing certificate, with the highest integrity, honesty, and probity. And it's an indictment on the legal profession to think otherwise. And those who would say that integrity is lacking would simply not know what integrity means. It means you can't thief people money. It means your name not for calling a money thieving. Your name can't call in a money thieving. And justice must be seen to be done. So if your name calling up, you have to step aside. Simple. You can't say that you have integrity when your name a call. And I'm not talking about a bad mind call up. And then what is most atrocious is the fact that you're defending somebody, and in your defense, there is at least seven of you left over there that have no integrity. At least seven. And it doesn't apply to all, But they always say birds of a feather flock together, I suppose. That's why they're saying, oh, the criminal and the this and the that. But you see, when you pay your debt to society, you have the opportunity to come back. Last year, the nation called for me to be removed as the chairman of the Human Rights Commission who fight against states of emergency, and made it very untenable for the Vavavoons because the state of emergency couldn't be called, so the Negroes couldn't be locked up, and the ghetto youths we couldn't stay suppressed in their communities, so that the jobs, we could carry on business without the lower echelons of society. Yeah. So they said, and I happily step aside, happily, because I believe that the next Prime Minister of Jamaica is of the ilk, the character, the integrity, and the probity to lead this country to a place where we are not able to go with those who have other interests at hand. That is a fact. But as I say, if your name is bringing disrepute to an institution, you are to step aside. But that is having made mature consideration and realizing that it may very well be that persons are calling your name just to destroy your character. This I will submit to you is a different kettle of fish. Yeah? That is what you need to understand. So again, past versus present. The fact that a whole government would make a comparison to say that the People's National Party should never speak on persons' declarations and statutory declarations and conflict of interest and inability to certify because Isaac Buchanan is a criminal have caused you to put your prime minister and the head of your government in comparison to a juvenile criminal, stating to the public at large and the world at large that you think your prime minister is a criminal. But the PNP should not speak on it because they're engaging with somebody with a past who is now an accomplished attorney who has paid his debt to society, whose convictions are expunged under the law, which says you're not to speak about them. Yeah. So we have to put things in context and look what we are comparing to. But for people to understand that if your society is going to incarcerate people, it is to do so for one, punishment, two, correction, rehabilitation, with a view for successful integration. So one would understand why somebody would feel the way, because there are persons who are saying, I never go prison and I still can't turn a lawyer. That is on you, because no one is preventing anybody from being an attorney. I want people to know that. It's like doctors and lawyers, but you must apply yourself. There are no shortcuts. There are no friends you can call from Delaware University to give you an honorary doctorate. And some of us will never be privileged to be able to do a thesis on crime when the whole country is being destroyed by crime. I'm telling you, some of us won't have that opportunity. So, for the most part, what is left for you to do is to apply yourself. And there's a method into doing that. So, rehabilitation is not just for incarceration. A majority of Jamaicans need to be rehabilitated from poverty. Poverty is the biggest criminality that takes place in this country. And so those with the purse and those with the cookie jar that's putting their hand in it, it's them you need to be removed incarcerated, and rehabilitated, and they can possibly wheel and come again. So I just need people to appreciate that the power of rehabilitation is just as effective as education. In fact, we should have a system where we're telling people that if you get a CXC subject, we take off a year off of your sentence. So if you get 5 CXC, you get 5 years off. You should have to be locking up people and having them waste away for crime. That's not the that was never what crime the justice system was made for. And I've been to enough Caribbean countries now to realize that Jamaica is the only one operating um with the high crime over over sensationalization of crime. When other countries, I was shocked to know that there were mass shootings in other Caribbean islands, but not being reported like how Jamaica reports it, and make it seems like Jamaica is the worst place on earth. I'm not in no way saying that crime is not happening. I'm saying that we're not rehabilitating. There is a serious issue of recidivism. Recidivism meaning reoffending. There is a mathematical and scientific formula when it comes to these things that nobody has talked about. There are certain tenets, for instance, nobody speaks about drug misuse. So there are well established links between drug misuse and offending, right? So people who use drugs will reoffend because when they can't get the drugs, I'm gonna rob and burglarize and thief cell phone and run down people and grab handbags to feed their habit. And drugs is not only cocaine and crack and marijuana, because respectfully, alcohol is a drug that when misused, it becomes problematic. Alcohol consumption is associated with crime, particularly heavy or binge drinking and violent crime. So you can imagine you're in your house and you drink and you're drunk and man end up dead on your couch. If you don't have good friends, you might end up in prison for the rest of your life. So good friend better than pocket money. There's a link between alcohol, crime, and reoffending, and it's also complex because you have other mediating factors. For example, personality disorder, childhood experiences of violence, social and cultural norms. Um, they're all likely to play a role in relationships. So there is a link between alcohol and crime, and the misuse of alcohol, which um, will facilitate reoffending, especially when it comes to violent crimes, because your cognitive ability is impaired, right? But then you have things like impulsivity or low self-control. Why am I painstakingly telling you about all of these things? Because Jamaica don't give a damn. The government don't care about the mentally ill. They don't care about assessing depression. They don't care about um the mental breakdown of the citizen. That poverty is a big factor. But they see the people on TikTok and they see them on Instagram and they see they do it them in spaces that they get somebody to monitor them, because if they have to turn off the device and stop and think for themselves, they would kill themselves. These are realities. But we must man a man. Man for stand up like man. No weak jellyback man. You must say, whoa, me a stress. I can't pay my phone bill. I can't pay my light bill. I can't pay for something. I not work. I not have education. I not have all the things necessary. I need some rehabilitation. Rehabilitate me and allow me to put myself back in school, because when you are in the school and you don't get to CXC the first time, you're discarded. And then they say, go to heart, learn a skill. and they typecast you, so you no longer have the ability to become the doctors and the lawyers and the engineers, but you must do the same work, but you don't have the letters behind your name. These things are important. And I want people to understand that. So a temperament which is highly impulsive and sensation seeking has been identified in a number of theories of antisocial behavior. High levels of impulsivity have also been identified as a significant factor that predicts general as well as violent reoffending. Um, Also, there are attitudes in the Jamaican culture that support crime. Let me tell you, let me give you an example. Relationships with antisocial peers are regarded as important in supporting or maintaining criminal behavior among offenders. There's evidence that negative peer influence are a relevant factor in adult reoffending, although the negative influence of peers is understood to reduce with age. Well, let me tell you something. If you go over to Twitter and listen to the foul mouth filth that come from the people behind those keyboards, you have a clear understanding how people can be easily influenced to respond and to act by incitement from a base. And people have to be very mindful. You don't have to be demure, but you have to be very mindful of what the interactions that you have, especially when it comes to um, the attitudes of people that support crime by putting out hate speech, by inciting persons to discriminate and dislike, and it can lead to harm to not only the individual but their families as well. So these are real issues that internet bullying can lead to attitudes that support crime and antisocial behavior. And then your social network is also one of them, because show me a company, I tell you are. I guarantee you this: if you're around people who are poor every day, you're going to be poor for the rest of your life. If you surround yourself among people who are progressive and rich and people who want you in their space to become better versions of yourself, you will elevate. So there's a difference between people who are rich and says, I will help you and I will represent you, but stay down there, than people who says, listen, we are one and we are elevating. I am you, me no better than you. We are the same. Let us try to be the best versions ourselves, so I don't become you. So elevate like me, so I don't become you. That is a different conversation. So one key thing is the breakdown in the family structure. So you see, a lack of poor family and intimate relationships can cause people to reoffend, can cause people to not rehabilitate, can cause people to just live a life of crime until then get caught and it done, and you fight till the wheel drop off, and then ultimately, if he's a big wig, you're just gonna have to resign when it all said and done, because the people around you gonna say, Lord, me can't take it no more. And then so those are some of the realities that I'm encouraging people to think about when we're talking about transformative behavior, the purpose of rehabilitation, because as I'm showing you, there is a formula. There are things that you would have to do. And I don't think you can rehabilitate without being educated. I think you have to find a space to educate yourself and do it in your own time. Set 5-year goals and achieve those things that you want to achieve. But what you cannot do is, in the face of being caught with your hand in the cookie jar, is to hold on and make a mockery about a system, because it shows that you lack integrity. And I can tell you this: when you are accused by people, you face your accusers and you have no problem to ensure that it doesn't damage the reputation of the institution. You step aside. I did it. When I was told that I was bringing the profession into disrepute and I'm the worst human being that ever walked Jamaica because of quoting Vibes Cartel song. which was very distasteful, I must add. Take all measures to remove yourself so that you do not damage the reputation of people who are held in high regard because of your mistake and your personal disconnect. These things are important. So in defining and trying to help people to understand about the importance of rehabilitation, seeing it taken lightly in the social space is very unfortunate because there are too many young men and women who are put before the justice system and their lives are destroyed because of the markings of a conviction, and there's no system in place to help them to rehabilitate. In fact, one now wonders that when you are arrested and put before the court and ultimately convicted, there are people who are saying, yeah, we managed to destroy a young person's life and we one less person to compete with for the small pickings of this country. That could never be what our national heroes would have envisioned for this country. It could never be. And we pay a lot of attention into bringing down people who are doing good, not accused of doing bad and not accused of illicit enrichment and all of these big fancy things that just amounts to scamming and fraud and everything else. No matter how you pretty it up, it's criminality. And that brings us to the difference between a convict and a criminal. A conviction is merely um, a what do you call it? An affirmation that somebody has engaged in criminal activity. And some people can do it on one off. Some people can be a repeat offenders because of systematic failures and because of how investigative bodies react to persons who were previously incarcerated. And you find yourself running afoul of the law all because you were once incarcerated, and the people who are executing the law don't believe in rehabilitation. But what the thing I can assure you is that, as I said, when a tree falls, whether you hear it and see it or not, it fell. It fell, they did. And I need people to appreciate that so that they don't be they're not deceived or led astray to not appreciate that there are criminals among you who walk among you every day and they're just not caught, but they're very bad for the society. So nobody is upholding criminality. Well, what you are to be upholding is the rule of law. What you are to respect is the Constitution and how the institutions operate within the remit of the Constitution. These are the conversations that we are supposed to have so that young people can empower themselves because they know what the law is, and you want to know what the law is so you don't break it. You go into a community and there's no police youth club. How is that possible? When your police officers in your community is supposed to know you. Because if they know you, they know who will do something and who won't do something. So all this strange face man business, no strange face around here. You're not supposed to be hiding anything, so people are to know you. And so don't think because people bathe and them can buy cologne and deodorant and put on clean clothes that them mind not right. Yeah, you ain't right within. We're talking about the internal locus of control and the integrity that comes with it. And integrity is a self-check mechanism. Your friends can't award you and said you have integrity. You must have it regardless of whether it is recognized by others. That's what your conscience is. And so there are certain things that are unconscionable, and it's demonstrated by your actions. So they tell you all the time, actions speak louder than word. Yeah. And so you can always trick people and say, this is what I've done, but the people must know. Who feels it knows it. And I've seen with my own two eyes. And I navigate the spaces every day, and people are suffering. And how do we change that? Those are the conversations that we have to have. How do we change that? So you see, I have these conversations so they know what it is that me, me ISAT, you know what I say? The way that me ISAT, what is it that I represent? So I hear the chatter, I hear and see the nonsense from the same people, the doubting Toms, that's what I call them. But these are people that have self-interest, that don't want better for everybody in the country because they don't understand the flow of money. They're only concerned with holding money and not having the flow of money which works for everybody in the country. Development, when you hear them say, I'm the builder and I'm developing. Development is for nation, is nation building is different from building private homes and developing one and two things here and there. Development must be for all, and it must reflect on the salaries for all. It must reflect when you go to the supermarket. It must reflect when you go into the KFC line and you're able to afford the things that you want. That's what it's reflect. So it's so ironic. Let me show you why context matters. I've been in KFC and I see people ordering meal deal, and somebody said no KFC. Me just using it as an example. And allow me now, me there the UK, me not eat UK KFC. You wanna trouble me for? Like on my shirt. Like on my t-shirt. Anyway, yeah. And it's similarly, I've seen, I think it was two, I don't know what they call themselves, two elderly gentlemen who had political ambitions, but it has since passed or something like that. And they objectived vehemently about, and I'm using the big words because it's them use it, about the appearance of Vibes Cartel and his association with the People's National Party. The man is not a criminal because he's not a convict by your reasoning. But it's okay for, I'm reading it. See, Leroy Henry said Ruel Reed and calling names on here. Not I'm not calling names because even Ruel Reed, he's cloaked in the presumption of innocence, and he's probably saying God on time, because when it comes out in the wash, the bright here says not him to take the money, but somebody above him. So saying somebody said true eyesight police officer stowed from Rockford police station straight back to Jarrett Lane off Mountain View. Knew everyone in every yard. Also Anthony Hewitt from Central Police Station knew a lot more. Yeah. So that's the thing I'm saying. But it starts with the police youth club. Because if you're knowing them from them little and a grow, there's a certain level of respect. I invite you to go and look at the story of Moses. If Moses never wasn't raised in the same household as Pharaoh, you think he could have come talk about let my people go, and Pharaoh put two snake and wrap it around him neck and roll him down the Mount Sinai? Think about it. So you are part of the education and a part of the interaction and the culture, the acculturation is to engage people from their young, is to have a community that deals with we must identify the elders in the community, and we must know who we respect, and not a false sense of respect, because a lot of that is going on. You can't just be giving people accolades and awards and honors when they're not deserving of it. It is through your works and how you touch and impact the lives of multiple people, that contributes to nation building. It's not a friend thing. It's not nepotism. And so that is the aspect of it that has to change. That is the aspect of it that must come to the forefront. And I'm doubling down on that. So let's talk about second chances and third chances. We only have one life, you know. We only have one life. And just as how Lady Saw can go into the church and she come out of the church and say she'll do her thing. It's one life. So multiple things will happen in people's life, but you must have the freedom to live your life provided that you're not harming other people. So even freedom comes with restrictions that sometimes people don't have. Because I can tell you this, you see, when you're in prison, the only thing you want in life is to be free. And then when you're free, you hear say you have to find rent, water, light, food, toilet paper. And then if you're not as blessed as Vibes Cartel to get $5 million for him show, for him Freedom Street, and him can demand money because God bless him as a national treasure with his talent, then you free and you have to go find work. And nobody no want to give convict no work. Yeah, I tell you, like I tell you, finish law school. You see any law firm giving me no work? I go do my own thing. And I create a space for myself, and it is a problem for many. Because that's not how it's done. They discard who they wish to discard. And professions and society is like that. Industries are like that. But every now and then you have the people who break the mold, and when they break the mold, um, they change the landscape, and that is what people are about. That is what you are supposed to do. You are supposed to change the landscape for generations to follow. That is what is important. And again, if you have a keyboard and you're lonely and you're overwhelmed by negativity, find a church. Have somebody pray for you. Wherever you are in your life, whether you think it's meaningless, you cannot inject negativity into others. This is not context matters, is not the space for it. And I promise you, I won't block nobody. Say whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter. But appreciate that in when it comes to context matters, you're here to learn. We're having conversations. Notice I don't have a guest tonight. I have many persons to interview, but I said I'm having a conversation with our contextualizers, with our scientific context matters persons who are learning to critically think. So if it's a case that you just saw Isat's picture and decide that you're going to come on the chat and the spaces and just constantly writing negativity, no, don't block them. We're in a space where we have to identify the naysayers, because God on time is the mantra, and all the time, God on time always proves them wrong. So I just want people to have an appreciation for all that I would have said tonight. And one thing I can tell you, I am accessible. As long as you are willing to learn and as long as you have something to teach, conversation is always welcomed. Through the inbox, TikTok, even though when they say me get rich now, so I stop sending me the lions and the universe, them and these things. But me know say Christmas a come. And you see through me born December 12, the same day as Portia. Give me all the gifts. Me need it. Or don't expect nothing for Christmas. That's why I like that my birthday come before Christmas. So all who want them yama when Christmas a come. If you don't send the gifts them, don't expect nothing from me. Yeah, that's how we do it. But yeah, so I think that in the absence of questions from people to say, well, I said, how does this particular thing go in terms of rehabilitation? What can I do for proper reintegration? I think I would have set out that one, um, criminality is not defined by the presence of a conviction. And if we are going to fight crime, we're going to have to appreciate opportunistic criminals, persons who are find themselves in spaces and refuse to strengthen laws where necessary, persons who simply are so selfish that they make corruption fester and it affects the quality of the lives of individuals. Those are the criminals that we ought to worry about. We also realize that Leroy, big up yourself, greatness there, sir, greatness there, right there, sir. Yeah. And that we are to rethink how we look at crime and the impact that the actions of individuals have on the masses. For instance, there are people who say, well, Bolt having money, so them not sorry for him, but it could be you. Can you imagine you're not a Bolt and you invest your money into SSL and the people were allowed to take it from you? And somehow the country don't think that that is more problematic than talking about you're running down the scammers who are God knows where they are or how you identify them to be what you say they are. And so the selective labeling and the selective prosecution of the citizens is something that has to stop. And I pray that the persons who are put in the positions are fearless, are as vigilant as Justice Sykes and Justice Marva McDonald Bishop, and so many of the other justices that do their work unbothered by the noise that is outside, and show that while we have a lot to work to do when it comes to the parliament and when it comes to the political electorate, that our judiciary is moving in a direction far more advanced than the rest of the society. But at the same time, there are failings because as they are advancing and incarcerating persons, they're still going into these archaic prisons that's fit for dog. And notwithstanding that we have different ministers of states, not much has changed because not blaming them, we need a systematic overhaul of the prison system, including seeing if the UK might still have a prison that them want build, and the things that we can do to lessen the load of non-violent offenders being incarcerated with persons who are violent. So I think that these are the conversations that we ought to have rather than worrying about the majoring in the minor and using ad hominem rather than sticking to the real issues. Because when somebody says, what do you ISAT have to offer? Because somebody did a long time and them are doing what they do, but you're doing what you're doing, but the people are suffering. You're not shame, especially when your government is in power. These things are important. And all these questions about who killed who and all of that. Rita Marley said, who caught the game? It's not a Natty Dread said it must be a ball head or the door mix me. So we have a lot of work to do, um, and a lot more when it comes to identifying spaces to enrich the lives of the citizens of the country. And why I say space is because living conditions is also a reason why depression is high. The living conditions is also why contention is festering in communities. To be here in the UK and hear that there's a drive-by in Cassava Peace, and you said drive-by. When first of all, when you have car, you can't think of something better to do with the car than go do a drive-by. When since this territorial setting start to come into play, and how are we responding to that as a nation? Yeah, these are the realities. And yeah, I know I haven't said it enough, but like, subscribe, um follow, tell your friends about it. It's context matters. And we have an exciting journey that we are about to embark on, so you watch the ride. Great things are about to happen in the space, and we're going to show them why context matters. Yeah, yeah. So just putting that out there. And yeah, it's always power to the people. We know that. No, I don't. I don't think that JLP, some are known, or anybody. I don't think bad mind is what is happening. Um, Tribal loyalty is an interesting concept. But as I would have said, is that, you see, because I love everybody, doesn't matter what side you're on. Because I know a lot of labor rights that ask me for assistance, and assistance is never contingent on the party that you support, because the Constitution allows you to participate in the electoral process by your right to vote. There's a constitutional right. So that is important. What you ought not to do is try to influence, certainly me, from exercising the same freedom. So if you're setting your mind that you don't want to vote for a particular person, if you have the ability to do so, or their party, so reserve that for yourself. Allow those who are doing the campaign to go out and do that. But to participate to participate in the low kind of conversations, it's a very interesting thing. Very interesting thing. And I won't, as I say, I won't even descend into that arena. I'm way, 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 way better than that, for many reasons. So, so a man thinketh, so is he. So if your mind bring you to a reprobate place and cause you to think and envision some of the slackness that I hear coming from the keyboard, it is because that's where your mind is. And you speak of the things that you enjoy. That's why I'm on Context Matters, speaking about context matters and putting things into context. So if you have things that includes filth that you enjoy, text away, because your ego and your that's where your excitement comes about. So as you envision ISAT and you become excited, we understand, and the viewers see you. That's why you're hot to text like that, and we understand. But trust me, the truth is the truth and it's not an offense. So if you want to project how you feel in yourself, don't worry. There are many artists that sing music that can help you to come out and be your true self, and the things you're projecting, and you want that for yourself. Feel free. Because we know, them say Tom drunk, but Tom the fool. We know already. So a man think it, so is he. And those with a reprobate mind, we see you, and we know we know you, and we know who you associate with, and we know some of you who escape the limelight. By the way, that's not for me. I'm leaving that alone. Um, yeah. So that is that. So I'm thinking that I would have addressed the rehabilitation. I would have addressed criminality. And so the misinterpretation is the last thing that I want to talk about, right? Um, so here's how this works now. Um, the misrepresentation would be naturally persons making attempt to mischaracterize or disseminate information that they themselves is incapable of interpreting. And a lot of this seems to happen. Like I said, when you look at the landscape and um, put me in a kitchen and a crime is going to be committed. Because when I cook that food, yeah, you know, so people are gonna end up in the hospital or something like that. So, cause me can't cook, so that's not my field of expertise. So, you leave the things alone that is not for you. And we have too many times. We have a lot of political commentators. We have a lot of persons who a lot of persons who just deem themselves professionals in professions that they're not even certified to be in. So we have a lot of internet lawyers and internet doctors and internet political analysts and internet journalists and vloggers and bloggers and all of these things that people decide that they're going to take the shortcut to participate and engage in. But it's a little bit more than that. If you want to be if you want to make the greatest amount of impact, especially in a positive way, you have to take the things you want seriously and you have to educate yourself. Yeah? That is what it is. No one can deny that. You have to be able to educate yourself. It's not enough to shout from the mountaintop and be disgusting and inappropriate. And when you find yourself doing that, you think that you're getting attention, right? That is simply not the way how it works. That's not how it happens. And so these are the conversations that we will continue to have in the space and understanding what context matters is. It is 11:42 in London, and it has been a very interesting topic, and I've been talking for the almost 2 hours. And I must say that I want to thank everybody, 1,478 people on the YouTube at any given time, and for the persons, the 500 people plus people on TikTok who chose to spend this last 2 hours with me. I really, really appreciate it. For all the right reasons that you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here with me. And I tell you, the fans, I'm amazed by the fans, especially the ones who go out of their way to come on my life and text nonsense because you can't do without interacting with me. If you really, really want to know me, you can send me an inbox and say, I want to be a friend. And you don't seem like an approachable person. Yeah? And if you try that as another means of interacting. And I know some of you are intimidated by the orange. I know, but don't be. Time come. Is that time. And so it's the brightness that might cause you to feel like you can't interact. But it's never too late to ripe up. You see, mom no agree. But let me stop because you can't have fun these days. I see them going crazy. Is what Everton say why everybody mad at Everton. This is hilarious. Anyway, you guys made me laugh today. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, all fruits right. Pick the grape tree or something like that. I didn't know that song, But yeah, it has been a pleasure. I must tell you that. Um, but there was a some things that were taking place in the media that was just unbelievable. But I think that isn't it's not neither the time nor the space to you know ventilate that. So um your thoughts your thoughts on the there's someone that feel like they need to call me every minute. Hmm, interesting. Anyway, um yeah, your thoughts, Miss Verona Shields says that the show is very refreshing and informative. Thank you so much, Verona, for your positive feedback. I appreciate you. Um, yeah, man, always to thine own self be true. I talk about it all the time. The literature book is Much Ado About Nothing. I find that when you quote Shakespeare, you can't get in trouble because Shakespeare is a little bit more sophisticated than the dancehall artist, albeit that a lot of filth comes out of Shakespeare's poems. But I suppose when one educates themselves and equip themselves with the language, the English language is a very interesting language. So there's a particular sign that I came across that it was very interesting. It said, "We aim to please, you aim to please." English language. So that was a demonstration of the difference between to and two, and not TWO but TOO. So I found that to be very informative. Yeah. So that's definitely that. So I'm looking forward to, as I let them know. Yeah, militant, ever militant, ever ready, ever ready. So that is that. Let me answer this. Let me answer this phone. Hello. Yes, I'm live. I'm okay, but I'm still live, so I'm gonna speak to you after the show is finished. Okay. All right, no problem. All right, blessings. Yeah, so I didn't open the lines, but it was a caller. Thank you for the call, and I will call you as soon as the show is finished. I just thought that it was an emergency, so I apologize to everybody. I had to answer. Yeah, but Nerina, I hear you. I hear you. She said go action, but cannot. Yay. So yeah, I didn't do the plugin, and I was supposed to do that. So I think I need to do it now before I actually sign off. Otherwise, my sponsor.
That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
And you couldn't tell me someone never did play that the promo. Jaja. Someone did that chat, giving the haters no energy, no energy. You know what I'm saying? No energy. We're militant. You see me? We're militant. Blessings, blessings. Yeah. So I want to also say that the month of November is gonna be very exciting. Yeah, I feeling the excitement already. And I'm looking forward to some of the dates as well. You know, Heroes Weekend is also an exciting time. So yeah, but we couldn't get me the problems in some of these comments, you know, that I gonna need for tone down the comments, please. Yeah, so this Context Matters was a special edition. It's called the UK edition. Yeah, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. No, we're not blocking anybody. Nobody gets blocked here. People must get the space to make a fool of themselves. Kesu said, I think Ronald Twaits would be a great guest for your program. Yeah, we could talk about education, don't? That would be an interesting one. Your suggestion is noted. Yeah, and that is that. Yes, that's right. Tap up the screen and share the live, guys. Tap up the screen and share the live. But anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Um, you know, look to the east for excitement. I hear that's where all the serious politics is happening. So to the freedom fighters for international Rastafari Day. Your comment went by fast. I was trying to read it, but the people them commenting, I'm all shook up. Oh. Mm. Yeah, always. God on time is the slogan, you know. Loxley Gregory, you know what it is. God on time. Yeah. Portia's grandson in the building. Yeah. So, without further ado, I'm gonna wrap this show right about now. And so, for those of you on YouTube, thank you so much for joining. And for those of you on TikTok, thank you so much for joining as well. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate you all. And for those of you, Bobby, blessings, you know, Calpo 2005, big up yourself. For those of you who are on Reggae Global Radio, want you to join me next week, same time, same channel, you know, where we will continue to educate and teach people how to rehabilitate and reintegrate, because that's what happens when you're on the right side of the law. You know what I'm saying? You don't run afoul of law again. And God and time is the mantra. So heart to everybody, blessings everybody, and big up on yourself. I'm gonna do what we do best. You know how we do, calling it a wrap. And for everybody, to stop arguing with the people them in the live, yeah? They need attention too. And they ain't getting it nowhere else. So they gotta get it right here on Context Matters. And yeah, I yes, that's something too. And remember, you know, this election is an election for your life, is an election for your freedom, is an election for your pocket. Pocket meaning is an election where you decide whether you want to remain poor or you want opportunities that will cause you to leave the island, get better jobs, get better opportunity, as well as access to proper education. So you have to enumerate, because if you don't have a vote, you don't have a say. And that if for that, you just have to stay. However your life is, if you right now, as I'm sending this message about enumerate, if you are happy with the way your life is, you don't have to do nothing. But if you want a change for your life and your children and the generations to come, do right, enumerate and get ready. While it is that the voting list, you may not make this one because the time has passed in another 6 months. If it comes to that, you'll be on the list and you'll be ready to vote. So certainly I'm encouraging the people of Portland Eastern to enumerate, and people all across Jamaica make the turnout, the voter turnout at least 87% to be a true reflection, so that when Mark Golding gets his mandate, it is one that resounds and resonates with what the message from the people about the change that they want. At a time when the US dollar is 159.01 and the pounds is 208. I tell you, what a time to be alive in this world. But we all have to play our part and we all have to do what we have to do. But I can tell you this, what I intend to do is change the dynamics for the people, by the people. Because I am you. Nobody can deny me that. I don't need to sing my mother born here, my father born here. I'm telling you, I am you, you are me. So when you look at me, you see yourself. If you don't like yourself, you can discard me easily. All right, blessings, people.
It took some time to understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see, it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You know I heard them say, life much better you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving. Moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it to the next level when they come around. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep your head up, yeah. Cause everything's gonna be alright. Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Cause everything's gonna be alright. Cause everything's gonna be alright.